He was born into a fortune worth billions, but after the nurse bathed him, she discovered he had stopped breathing. Fearing the powerful tycoon would blame her, she rushed to call the doctor. Unexpectedly, the tycoon's butler had monopolized the phone. The nurse had no choice but to inform him of the situation first. She then dialed the doctor's number, only to have the call abruptly hung up by the butler. It turned out his wife had just given birth to a son. To repay the tycoon, he offered to swap his own newborn for the deceased heir. Before the nurse could consent, he carried his son into the ward and switched the infants. Yet as they stepped out of the room, thunder rumbled and the dead infants suddenly began to cry. The nurse insisted they swap the babies back immediately, but the butler snatched his son away, warning her not to ruin his plan. It turned out he had swapped his son with the wealthy man's not out of gratitude, but to give his own son a life of luxury. Having lived in poverty his entire life, he refused to let this golden opportunity slip away. The nurse was so distraught she began to cry. She tried to reclaim the child, but was shoved by the butler. The nanny fell down the stairs and became a vegetable. From that day on, the two children, now swapped in identity, embarked on vastly different lives. The wealthy man gave his son a noble name, Jack, and asked the butler what he thought of it. The butler promptly gave a thumbs up. Meanwhile, the butler named his son Matt. For the poor boy, good health was all that mattered. From then on, the butler used his position to stay constantly by his son's side. When he learned the boy scored only 9 points in math, he altered it to 99 points, so his own son would earn the wealthy family's affection. Yet when he returned home and heard his son had scored 98, the butler not only failed to praise him, but mocked him, saying a poor child's grades were useless. In his eyes, Matt was destined to be a failure from birth, but 20 years passed in the blink of an eye. Matt not only grew into a handsome young man, but also gained admission to the nation's top university. Unexpectedly, the butler secretly arranged for his expulsion. Upon learning his biological son had returned from advanced studies in America, he sent Matt on a long journey to buy pumpkins, merely because he'd heard pumpkins could ward off misfortune. When Matt arrived at the mansion, the scene suddenly felt eerily familiar. His father's furious screams jolted him awake. Matt couldn't understand why his father showered everyone else with love, yet reserved nothing but malice for him. Yet despite this, the superior genes within Matt remained intact. One day, while walking his sister to school, a gang of thugs snatched her scarf in broad daylight. When she demanded why he hadn't stopped them, Matt simply handed her money to send her away. She didn't know he'd done this to shield her from seeing his other side. Later, he tracked the thugs to the basketball court, where they remained oblivious to the gravity of their actions.